Sixth graders, welcome back after your hopeful restful spring break. Tongue twisted. I'm out of practice for this. Before we get started here in our math videos that we're going to be doing here, I wanted to let you know that I'm going to be setting up a little bit of a group chat where you're going to be in one of three groups, and I'm going to touch base with you every day when I can get it all set up, and you will know your group. You'll know the time that I want you to be looking at your computer so I can touch base with you, discuss with you. You can ask group questions. It's kind of our little get together. It won't be long. It's about 15, 20 minutes, 30 minutes at the longest, but we need to get together and just be able to discuss. I miss you guys a great deal. I've missed having the class time. This is still not my style of doing things. Not your style either. We're used to kind of being together. So, but we're going to do what we need to do, and it looks like it's going to be for the rest of the year. So we'll just do what we can do. So anyway, but like I said, it's going to be just a brief little get together so I can talk to each group. And the group will have about 7 or 8 people, so you can ask whatever questions you want to ask, and don't be afraid to ask a question in the group of 7 or 8 because everybody probably has similar questions. So anyway, let's go ahead and get started on lesson 77, where we're talking about liquid measurements. Liquid measurements comes in many different forms. And the forms that we have here, like we have the distilled vinegar that we used in science, that is basically a gallon or 128 ounces of fluid. And it actually has 3.78 liters of fluid. So, you'll see that as we talk about the different measurements here. We also have 16-ounce cups. We have the 8-ounce cups. And I'm partial to the 16-ounce cup because that is where I can get my morning coffee, which is very tasty. Yes, if you're wondering why I duct tape this, is because I had to cover up where I got the coffee from. So, but anyway, so we have my fine mocha that I thoroughly enjoy. But it's my nice 16-ounce cup of coffee that I have this morning. So anyway, that being said, let's kind of look at what we're doing with all these fine measurements. All right, starting off, I'm going to walk you through what the measurements equal to each other. In other words, we have like 1 cup equals 8 ounces, 1 pint equals 2 cups, 1 quart equals 2 pints, 1 pint equals 16 ounces, 1 gallon equals 4 quarts, 1/2 gallon equals 2 quarts, 1 liter equals 1,000 milliliters. That's all being said. That's right in your book there on the first page. I think it's like on 373, it gives you those. But on the same token, we need to understand how to use them. And so we're setting up what we call unit multipliers. And the book doesn't really set this up, but it's very helpful to have it so you can use it when solving problems. So we have 2 ways we can write each measurement. We have 8 ounce over 1 cup is one way, but we can flip it over and 1 cup equals 8 ounces. And why I have that set up is for a typical problem like we have here. So first off, this is an example of as the measurements go from left to right, going from a large measurement of a gallon clear down to an 8-ounce cup. I'm going to have a whole bunch of 8-ounce cups for that 1 gallon. And so I'm going to need to go, so when I'm always getting to a smaller measurement, I'm always going to end up having multiplication involved in that. When I'm going the other way, it's going to be division. So let's just take one, for example. Here we have quarts, and we have 6 quarts over 1. I set it to a fraction because these are in fraction form. And so therefore, I'm going to start finding my unit multiplier that will help me solve this. So our end results we're trying to get to pints. So I got to hunt over here. Let's see, where's my pints? Here it is. 1 quart equals 2 pints. 2 pints equals 1 quart. Well, I'm going to first go back to what I'm looking for. And I'm going to put quarts down here because I want it at a diagonal here. I'm going to abbreviate this so it hopefully solves any confusion. Quarts. And so that means up here's got to be pints. All right, so now we got to get the formula for it. So we're looking for pints on top. We have 2 pints equals 1 quart. There it is. So we're going to go 2 pints equals 1 quart. Now, we're ready to cross cancel, which you're familiar with that. We can get in here, we can't, what we're cross canceling is the label. We're cross canceling out what we're not trying to find. We are trying to find pints, so we moved it out there. So now we're cross canceling quarts out and quarts out. Now we're ready to do the operation, which is multiply. 6 times 2 equals 12 pints. So 12 pints equals, so my final answer is 6 quarts equals 12 pints. Or in the answer book, you would just, or in the answer column, you just put 12 pints. And probably what I'll end up having you do when you write out the label pints on the computer for on the quiz and test and so forth, go ahead and write out the word pints. That's what I'll type out for you. And that way, if it's marked wrong, same rule of thumb, if it's marked wrong and it's right, I'll go back and fix it, just like we've been doing. So that will never change. I'm checking every lesson. So anyway, so that's the first one. Let's take a look at one in the book here. On page 370, excuse me, we have, on example 1, it says we have a half gallon of milk is how many pints of milk? All right, a half gallon of milk. So we're going to say we have half gallon, and I'm going to do this right away because half gallon, yeah, that's great. But I'm going to change that automatically to how many quarts are in a gallon. So I'm going to change 1/2 gallon equals 2 quarts because we already know that. So, and we're trying to find out now 2 quarts equals how many pints? Let me double check, make sure I'm reading everything correctly. Yes, pints. So I set it up. So now I want to know, find my formula again for what I did. So I'm going to have 2 QTR times, and I'm going to set it to 1 just like I did before, something over, so I'm going to put quarts here and pints here again. So I look for it, pints to quarts. All right, at the top, so we got to have 2 pints again, 1 quart, 2 times 2 is 4, so we know that 4 pints, we know a half gallon then, going back to it, equals 4 pints. And again, the half gallon I converted to 2 quarts to make it easier. Okay, does that make sense to everybody, I hope? And again, if you get stuck on any of this, because I know it can get confusing with the unit multipliers, give me a call. I have the whiteboard set up at home, all waiting patiently for you. So no problem with helping you at all. All right, so let's go to a different one where they're saying, making a comparison. It says, compare 12-ounce pop can to 1 pint. So really what they're saying is a 12-ounce to 1 pint. All right, so I'm going to erase this, get a little more writing room. And I know you'll have it because you have it on your board, or excuse me, you have it on your YouTube video, so you can go back to anything you want to. Now, give me a quick second while I erase this. It's so cold, I'm going to have to grab another rag and dry it off. All right, now. All right, so we have really, they're saying they have a 12-ounce pop can or 1 pint container. So they're asking this. 12-ounce pop can. And then they're comparing, so that means we're going to have a less than, greater than, or equal to, one of the 2, 3, to the last part, which is 1 pint container. All right, 1 pint container. So now, we just got to set up the math. So we got to decide how much is a pint in terms of ounces. So we got to look at for the unit multiplier for ounces to pint. Pardon me, kind of dry throat, out of shape. So we got to figure out how do we get from ounces to pint. All right, right here, it says 1 pint equals 16 ounces. So we're going to try to find out, doesn't matter which one we choose. We have 12 ounces, and Cassie, Okay, sorry about that brief. Had to take a drink of water and kind of clear my throat a little bit. I'm kind of out of shape. But anyway, let's start back up here again. We had 12 ounces, so we're comparing 12 ounces to 1 pint container. Well, we know right away that 1 pint here equals 16 ounces. So right away, we can just do an exchange right away and put our comparison symbol here and put down 16 ounces. The point is we got to get them talking the same language, ounces to ounces. Okay, so we know 12 ounces, okay, is less than 16. So therefore, we are going to have the mouth always open to the larger number. So we're going to draw our little mouth with our teeth. There, always eating the bigger part. And so therefore, 12 ounces is less than 16 ounces. So we put that. And if this was a computer problem, you would just put this part in the answer. That's all I need. So anyway, so that's really the nuts and bolts of this. I'm going to do one more problem that is similar to, in fact, I'm going to just I want to walk through all the independent practice problems a little bit. And let me just set this up again here and all right. So the first practice problem says, what fraction of a gallon is a quart? What fraction of a gallon is a quart? All right, so we know that a gallon equals 4 quarts. All right, so, and the question again says, what fraction of a gallon is 1 quart? So that means if I have 4 of them, and we have 1 quart, that means I take 4 of them, so my answer is going to be 1/4. Because I have 1 quart is 1/4 of the 4 quarts that I need for the gallon. So it's like I said, not a hard one. And again, if this doesn't make sense to you based on what we've been doing, please let me know. We need to walk through that. Let's just kind of do, we have a second one. Let's go down to, I'll go down to letter C. A half gallon of orange juice will fill how many 8-ounce cups? Okay. And Cassie, I'm going to. All right. Took a little pit stops there to kind of get this set up a little bit better so you could track with me what I'm doing. So again, the question that they start off on C is a half gallon of orange juice will fill how many 8-ounce cups? All right. So we got to figure out, first off, we got to figure out how many gallons are going to end up being cups. All right. And we got to practice backwards right now. And so I'm going to immediately change it like I did before. A half gallon is 2 quarts because 4 quarts equal a gallon. A half a gallon is going to be 2 quarts. So then I'm going to set up my unit multipliers. And the unit multipliers again will get me to this end point. So I'm going from quarts to pints is my first one. So I have pints here, quarts here. That's because I wanted a diagonal. Now I'm going to set it to 1. All right, then I'm going to sit there and I'm going to keep going. And I want to go from pints down to, from pints I'm going to go to cups. Oops, put it on the top. Sorry about that. Pints to cups. Okay, and so we're going to set up this whole unit multiplier to get it all set up correctly for you. So we have now for pints, we have 2 cups equals 1 pint. Okay? So, we got to go through the first one. I almost forgot. 1 quart equals 2 pints. Let's set that one up first. Sorry about that. So, we have 2 pints, 1 quart. And then we're going to set up the next one where we have pints. Now we're ready for the pint one, which is 1 pint and 2 cups. All right, now we have this basically, we can cross cancel all this out that we have set up for pints to pints, quarts, quart. We're doing that cross canceling that we said earlier. And so they want to know, the question to get back up to the idea of a half gallon of orange juice will fill how many 8-ounce cups? So we got to figure out the cups first, then we'll figure out the 8-ounce cups. So we have 2 times 2 is 4 times 2 is 8. So we have 8 cups. So when they're going through, how many cups will it fill up? The half gallon? Final answer, 8 cups. Because everything on the bottom is 1. So if I did my cross canceling of all my labels, I have 2 times 2 times 2 is 8 over 1, which equals 8 cups. So again, if you get stuck, because sometimes kids get stuck on these unit multipliers, but once you get to the hang of them, it really helps all the way across, not just in liquid measurement, but in all types of measurements. And so I really want to get this started, get it going in your head. And again, don't feel bad about calling me as far as chatting with me, and we can walk you right through it. So anyway, that should do it for lesson 77. Your assignment is 1 through 30, skipping number 26. And again, the answer keys I'll be sending out to you. Please make sure you're checking off your lesson, keeping up with those, because that's going to set the tone, and I'll know based on how you're doing on the pre-test and final test. So anyway, questions, give me a call. Thanks.